What's the haps? I'm John, aka Meroka, and welcome to Spiel. We are in Onyx Queen this week, which is a beastie kind of thing. I kind of figured one thing I always seem to avoid, because I always felt like I used to do it way too much in the past, it was, beast stuff. So I guess I haven't really done any beast gates in quite a while, so hey, let's go stab some beasties. I don't know, I feel like maybe they're a little bland, but whatever, it's fine. I am a little pressed for time today, so hey, maybe a shorter gate would be for the best. Something a little more advantageous in my case at any rate. So, let's see, is there anything over that way? No, there's nothing that way. We have very little in the way of Spiral Knights news. The last promo ended, and nothing's happening, which I guess means there's probably a promo of some sort that will pop up tonight, I don't know. If nothing interesting happens, I can almost guarantee you there will be a promo, because such is the way of the world. They don't like to seem to let it sit with no promos at the minute, but there you go, so nothing to speak of there. In other news, 6 months later, I have finally gotten my landlord to say, hey, yes, I will get you better internet, which should be nice, because that would allow me to actually do more things for you guys. Now, one thing I did pick up on that... something I literally just noticed, like 10 seconds before I started recording this, is... I noticed my frame rate was like at a solid 60 FPS, and I was like... Is VSync on? Yeah, turns out VSync was on. I have no idea how long I've been playing with VSync. Probably since I formatted my computer, which I guess is about 6 months ago. Hey, ooh, scenario room. Hey, Tardadron. Hi. Cool. Yeah, so I guess I've been playing with VSync on for about 6 months now. Turns out that if I turn VSync off, I get like 150 frames per second. While recording, that is. So, yeah, I could probably do 60 frames per second Spiral Knights videos. That seems like a reasonable thing I could do. At the same time, there's also... at the same time, while I can do that, it's going to be a ridiculously huge upload that would take forever. Because 60 FPS videos are massive, which is why I kind of limit it to Roche Fusion and Roche Fusion only at the minute. So yeah, I would probably be able to do a lot more if I had the internet speed to be able to upload such things in a reasonable time frame. Spiel is already one of my larger videos that I make, so you know, doubling that file size would not be a fun task. So I'm now currently speculating, like, if I can get this thing sorted, 60 FPS Spiral Knights might well be coming your way in the near future. So something to look forward to there. That's kind of cool. Anyway, let's move on to some questions for such as the nature of Spiral Spiel. That's what we do around here. You guys ask me questions and I answer them. If you have any, leave them in the comments. I will give you a small shout out. I will mention your name when I read the questions out. And then I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. And for this season, which will run through till about November time, I will be trying to avoid Spiral Knights questions. So please don't ask me those things. We did many of those the other week. And then that's it. I will see how I feel in November about doing more of those. So stuff I missed from Xavier225 last week. I thought I'd missed some questions out last week. I thought I'd written everything down, and then when I came to the end of the video, I was like, I missed some stuff. Yeah, when I went back, I totally had. So Xavier said, what kind of game do you enjoy most? Ones that you have full control of the character and the decisions you make in the world around you, or do you like games about a specific quest, a goal you have to achieve by the end, or is it some other kind of game you enjoy? Examples. I don't know, when you talk about kinds of games, I guess most people would normally think of genres more so than anything else. If you said, what kind of game do you enjoy, I would probably kind of tell you MMOs and shoot-em-ups are kind of my thing. They're the two big things in my life. If you go over to Video Game Caster and find my channel on there, there's a thing that tells the press, hey, this guy does a lot of MMOs and shoot-em-ups. So if you have those, please send them to this guy. He will make videos of your shoot-em-ups. I don't know, I'm not really terribly picky about games. I do play a wide array of things. The actual structure of the game is not terribly important to me as much as whether it has interesting... if it has interesting gameplay or interesting narrative, or both. Those are what I would be looking for in a solid game. Story is obviously very important to me. When you see things like To the Moon and Always Sometimes Monsters are two of my most highly rated games ever. I would recommend those till the end of time for narrative games. Yes, those are up there. I like a narrative thing. That's kind of what I like. But at the same time, I don't know. I do play a variety of things. I mean, I noticed on sale on Steam at the minute is Assassin's Creed 4, which me and my friend recently picked up on Xbox 360 because it was the games with gold thing, so it was like, oh, it's free. I'm kind of enjoying that, actually. At first I was like, it's not really as piratey as I want it to be. I'm getting into that. I might pick that up. It's like 7-8 quid on Steam, and it's like, you know what, for 8 quid, I could probably have a crack at that for 8 quid. Is there any interest in seeing that on the channel? Does anybody want to see me play through Assassin's Creed 4? I need more pirate stuff on my channel. I always go for the whole pirate thing, and I don't play anywhere near enough pirate games. So, and that's not to say, you know, stolen. I mean, just games themed around being a pirate, you know, Jack Sparrow and all that. So I feel like I need to get more. I need to shoehorn more of that into my channel. So anyone want to see me play Assassin's Creed 4? I could get behind that. A little bit of high seas and yo ho ho and whatnot. That'd be good. I'm game. I don't know about you guys. Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Video game weapons. Which do you think are some of your favourites? To me, a good weapon does not have to be the most powerful. It could be the best looking, the most fun to use. The recent-ish Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One, while the story was okay and lacked enemy variety, there were several weapons I really enjoyed, such as the explosive but cute Tien Teddy. Also from Xavier. Well, I would say Spiral Knights has a lot of really cool looking things that are not terribly practical. I mean, the Dread Venom Striker is super fun to use, even if it's not terribly useful. It usually gets me killed, but it's really fun. In the same line, you've got the Wild Hunting Blade, which looks kick-ass, but it doesn't do much. It does normal damage, and you'd just be better off with an actual piercing weapon against beasts. It's a bit underwhelming, really. But it's shiny and gold, and it shoots wolves. It's a sword that shoots wolves. What's not to love about that? So that's a pretty kick-ass weapon. In terms of, like, guns, really satisfying. Shotguns are always have the potential to be really satisfying. If there's a well-designed shotguns are always great in FPSs and stuff. The flat cannon in Unreal Tournament was always one of the best. That was just a super satisfying weapon to use. You could just, if you walked up to somebody and got a close enough range, the shotgun would literally blow them into chunks, into jibs. You would just instantly disintegrate a person. That was a cool weapon. Yeah, I liked the flat cannon in Unreal Tournament. Yep, that was a good one. There was the 4-barreled shotgun in Bulletstorm, which Mr. Yahtzee Croshaw described as being like God slamming a car door, which I always thought was a fantastic analogy for a weapon. And I've used that on a few occasions. It's like, that's such a great turn of phrase. It's like God slamming a car door. Yeah, I like that. That was a pretty good weapon as well. Yeah, shotguns are good. Shotguns are good. I can't think of anything else offhand that immediately springs to mind. No. There's obviously the remote bomb in Rush Fusion. That's a really cool weapon. Might be because I designed it, but hey. Yeah, those are the things that immediately springs to mind weapon-wise. Really satisfying shotguns and swords that shoot crazy awesome things or let you go wild and insane. Yep. Where are we on my list? Drathuxy says, I'll be happy to do Spiral Spiel if you stop, lol. One day, I might take you up on that, who knows. God knows when that day might be, but hey. Nothing to stop you doing the same, you know, it's not like I have a patent or a trademark or a copyright or something on the video game log, I mean, hell, I stole the format from Kurt J. Mack, he's described it in past as, it's like a vlog, but with video games, so it's kind of like a VG log, a vlog, if you will. It's basically that format, and as I've said before, a friend of mine, Mod1982, he does the same thing in Euro Truck Simulator. He's much closer to the Kurt J. Mack format insofar as he's raising money for charity as well whilst he's doing it. So he drives around in Euro Truck Simulator, he's trying to get to 1 million miles on the clock, and raising money for charity while he does so that's a good one to check out. I just distilled the formula down to playing video games and talking about random whatever while I'm doing it. I mean, the file lands a bus thing that J-Mac does, it's simply because he's just walking a really, really long way, and on the whole, there's not so much you can talk about, so it's like, hey, just give me topics and I'll talk about it. Same goes for Eurotruck, you know, you're driving a million miles along mostly motorway. It's not the most terribly compelling of things to, you know, narrate as an experience. And Spiral Knights, well, I guess I should be, like, counting it as... If I was going to do that kind of format with the charity and milestones and stuff, I guess I would have to go through floors of the Clockwork, so I have to do a certain number of floors, maybe? I don't know. That's not the route I've gone down anyway. It's just, like... I'm just going through content I've seen a million times, and you guys seem to find it mildly diverting, I guess, so, hey. And then I talk about things, so yes, if you want to play a game and talk about things, I cannot stop you using that format. That's totally okay. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. Just don't call it Spiral Spiel and we'll be fine, because, you know, that's kind of my thing. You could call it something else, you could do the same thing and give it a new name. I'm not going to stop you doing that, that's fine. Drothuxy also says, where do you think space travel will be in 50 years? Hopefully on Mars, I would have said. I mean, at that point, I guess you kind of need to colonize and terraform Mars. I imagine we'll get to a bit of a slowdown at that point. I guess we'd probably be looking further out into the solar system, maybe see if there's any other terraforming possibilities. Maybe looking at colonizing the moon, I don't know. All I know is, where was it, in 2011? Elon Musk of SpaceX and of Tesla and originally of PayPal, rich entrepreneur, genius type person, stated that he wanted SpaceX to launch a manned mission to Mars by mid-20s, I think. He set an estimate there. I think NASA also... if memory serves, I think NASA said something not dissimilar as well at some point within the last few years, at any rate. So Elon Musk of SpaceX, private space travel company thing that he's doing, who are currently borrowing a lot of facilities from NASA and working with NASA and basically being contracted out by NASA to do a lot of stuff. Those guys, yeah, they want to send a manned mission to Mars by the mid-20s, which is ambitious because they've got about 10 years left on that. But you never know. They seem to be making good strides in all sorts of areas of space travel. I mean, at the minute, they're kind of... The thing that they've been doing lately is trying to get spacecraft to... when they launch a spaceship, mostly just like resupply missions to this International Space Station and stuff, they've been trying to get... I have the wrong equipment. Damn. Well, it's not the worst equipment, but... I was just kind of expecting more beasts. These are undead and constructs. Huh. Well, I got Polaris, this will have to do me. Why have I got Polaris? Why am I not using my Wildfire? Wildfire would be great here. Damn it. Oh well. Yeah, so they've been trying to get bits of the spaceship back. Normally when you send the spaceship up, you kind of, if you play Kerbal Space Program, you'll be familiar with this. You've got bits of the spaceship that you know, they're used for getting into orbit and little else. The spaceship goes up, most of it just carries fuel, that bit breaks away and falls back down to Earth, and really generally doesn't tend to survive the journey. They've been trying to get it so that it survives the journey, so it's basically like recyclable kind of spaceships, which is cool. I don't know if that gets us to Mars, but obviously they are making great strides in space travel development and stuff, so that's really cool to see, innovation and awesomeness. So yeah, if by the mid-20s we'd be looking at potentially Mars, I guess, given a lot of the... I'm going to refer to a term from Alistair Reynolds' works, which is the resource and relocation crises, which he describes as... Alistair Reynolds is a science fiction author I read a lot of, if you're not already aware. And also the author from which I took the name of my character from one of his works. Yeah, so hey. Where was I? Yeah, his current trilogy, he's just released the third book in the trilogy, actually, the Poseidon's Children trilogy. They refer to the resource and relocation crises of essentially the 21st century, in which Earth kind of runs out of a lot of resources, and there's a lot of overpopulation, we need to find places to put people and supply resources. So, you know, it seems kind of reasonable that we probably are genuinely going to have resource and relocation crises over the course of the next 100 years. we're going to need to start looking at finding places to put people that might be on other planets. So yes, colonizing Mars doesn't seem like a reasonable option. I don't think we'd be getting there yet. I think you know, give it 50 years, we might be sort of at a stage where we could maybe begin to look at terraforming it. But at the same time, it's also the sort of thing that our actual governments really don't seem to be giving much priority to. And those guys are the guys that hold most of the money and most of the power and the decisions to do such things. If we're relying pretty much solely on private corporations like SpaceX to do such things, well, progress might be considerably slower than if, you know, governments who had a lot of money and power and resources to throw at such things were to actually, you know, do that themselves. So I would like to see us sort of getting to a place where we were looking to terraform Mars and possibly colonize the moon. But we might be sort of very, very preliminary stages within 50 years, I think. And some might say that's a little bit too late. We might need to be looking at that kind of thing like ASAP. Because, hey, resource and relocation crises and all that. We are, whoa, hey, that's a big wall of things that are coming at me. I see. So if I knock a hole in that... Oh, they're all gold as well, so none of them ever stop. But not, let's see, I can hide behind some blocks. Let's do that. And sneak through here. Okay, that's cool. Oh, constructs. Why do they have to be constructs? Constructs are not inherently a problem. I just don't really have the tools to fight them. My piercing sword is not going to do this. I thought a piercing sword would be okay here. It wasn't. It's just not. Okay, that's opened up a switch. Uh-oh. There's a lot of things coming out. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. I'm going to hide behind this, because then it can't get through there. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Where are we? Alivi says, how reliable do you think Wikipedia is? On one hand, it is a huge source of information, but on the other hand, pages can be edited by anyone. Some of the changes can be bad. Pages that are obviously wrong are corrected, but pages that have subtle changes won't always be caught. There was an interesting story about this last week about a lot of sort of government officials in the UK. There's quite a considerable number of edits to Wikipedia when you check out like the IP of who's edited them, because obviously even anonymous edits get logged as like the IP. It tells you where it came from. All the IPs were like government building IPs, and it's like, people in the British government are editing pages about the British government. I wonder if that's going to be reliable. So yeah, those are kind of the more subtle changes, and I suppose the subtle changes are genuinely the more malicious stuff. People are like, oh, you can write whatever you want, and it's like, yeah, most of that gets caught. Editors are pretty quick off the mark. All the edits get logged, and a lot of people are probably just kind of constantly checking edit logs to see what has changed recently on Wikipedia, and if any of them are malicious, and if it needs reverting, if it needs verifying. And I think ultimately that's the thing with Wikipedia is verify, verify, verify. If there's a claim that's worth substantiating, it will have a verified source, it will have a footnote, it will have a link to a source that tells you where that information came from. If it's something scientific, there'll be a link to a nice scientific paper in a journal somewhere. If it's something important in the press, there should be a press link, but press can be dubious, of dubious merit at best, to be honest. I kind of wanted to get into this on the podcast a little bit, and then the other guys were just like, oh no, biting the hand that feeds you, because we had some press stuff recently about the recent event at Button Mash, and it's like, whilst I appreciate the publicity, I absolutely appreciate the publicity, mostly it was just interesting because it highlighted to me the errors and discrepancies in the media system. If you ever find the media writing about a topic that you're close to and are well educated on and well versed on, and then you see what the media has to say about it, you realize that actually they're pretty inaccurate about things. That's not one of those things that opens up. So then it becomes pretty apparent that if they're wrong about this topic that I know a lot about, what else are they wrong about? If this topic, which, you know, in this case they were writing about a video gaming event. It was like no big deal, no big consequence in the world of things. But if they're sourcing and everything came from basically just hearsay and a few pictures and talking to me, and they didn't really bother to actually do any solid research on the matter. Well, what else do they cut corners on? You know, what other stories are equally well researched on more important things, perhaps? So yeah, the media, I'm always a bit dubious about media stories. It's like, they don't know as much as they want to purport to know. to the average layman, they probably would look at the article in the TNA of our button mash stuff and go, oh, that's interesting, that's cool, that's a thing that happened. And I'm looking at it and it's like, no, that's factually wrong, no, that's factually wrong, no, that's factually wrong, no, that's not accurate. Okay, you didn't quote me very well there. A lot of the things, a lot of the quotes of mine, it's like, you kind of put words in my mouth in a lot of these quotes, and I didn't really explicitly say that. You asked me a question and I sort of beat about the bush a bit, and then you phrased the quote of mine as if I just went, yes, that is exactly how that works. When you said, hey, what about this? Is this a thing? And I was like, yes, that is a thing that happens. And I'm like, no, I elaborated more than that, and I didn't really... It wasn't a clear-cut yes or no, black or white thing, and the quote was just inaccurate. So it's like, if I'm misquoted, how many other people do they misquote on a daily basis? I don't know. Media. That's gone off topic. So, there are a lot of things that are unreliable and you really just need to do research. Yeah, Wikipedia is good for sort of basic general information, but I wouldn't rely on it heavily for anything important. If you just like want to look up, it's really good for general information kind of things. I mean, scientific stuff tends to get verified, and obviously a lot of that's due peer review, but again, you wouldn't want to sort of... it's good for getting a good grounding in topics. Like I say, I've used it plenty of times for Spiral Spiel. It's like, oh, I don't know much about this. Let me go check the Wikipedia page and I can find out some interesting information about it. That's not likely to be terribly inaccurate. If you're looking for information about important public figures, yes, they might have massaged it a little bit to give them a better view of things, as we've seen with the British politicians. Stuff about people is likely to be a little bit dubious. And then, of course... I was going somewhere with that and I've forgotten it. Then of course, yeah, you've got your sort of general use, like, oh, was this actor in this TV show? Maybe IMDb's better for that, but whatever. I've used that plenty of times. So it's like, oh, I need to know a little bit about this TV series, or this film, or this band. And it's like, oh, I'd just like to find out what this artist's discography is. Did they, which album was this song of this band on, so that I can go find that album? That kind of thing. It's like, I've used that plenty of times. That's not going to be wrong. So your general information. So Wikipedia is, yeah, it's just how you use it and what you want it for. I wouldn't write your thesis on it. Wouldn't use that for your research there. Absolutely not. But yeah, just your general everyday, I want to look up something about XYZ. That's perfectly fine. That's no big deal. I don't see any issue with that. It is selectively useful, depending on circumstance. That is that last switch that I need. Oh god, the spikes are up and the mechas are up, and I'm just out. I'm out. Scott Pilgrim has a whole bunch of questions, of which many are Spiral Knights. I know I said I don't want to talk about Spiral Knights, but they're just brief. I will bomb through them like crazy briefly. What features would you like to be added to Spiral Knights? Raids, I've said that a million times. Add some raids to the frickin' game. Do you think it would be a good idea if the developer of Spiral Knights was to release a paid expansion for Spiral Knights with similar scale to World of Warcraft's expansion packs? Yes, but bear in mind that those expansion packs are probably bigger than Spiral Knights themselves are entirely, and Blizzard is the size of a small country. They have much more power. 3 Rings is about 5 people. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, I'm not entirely sure. The amount of people working on Spiral Knights is not many. They couldn't put out content on that scale without having a team the size of a small country, but yes, it would be fantastic if they could do that. Would Spiral Knights benefit from having a console or a handheld release? Absolutely, it runs in Java. The whole point of Java as a platform is that it will run on anything, and I do believe the consoles are starting to include free-to-play games in their stuff, so... yeah, I would say ideally they really should be looking at getting this on PS4s and Xbones and things. I think they would be a nice extra source of income and player base and things. If they could make it cross-platform as well, that'd be crazy good. I don't know whether that would be viable in any way, shape, or form, but it's clearly playable on a controller. It's not well playable on a controller, but it is playable. There is a controller input in the menu, so you could do that. Yes. So get it on the Xbone. Play it with an Xbone controller. They have the chat pads, so that's useful. And I was thinking this ties into another question actually. There's Steam Big Picture mode has got a well, it's not a great chat system, but it has a chat system that presumably could be used on something like the Xbone. I don't know whether they do use anything like that. It seems like it would be a good way to... I saw a picture of the Steam's chat system on the controller on Reddit, like, years ago. Frickin' ages ago. And then when it popped up on Steam, it was like, did they see that Reddit post or something and use that system? Because it was a really good system. Someone was like, hey, why does Microsoft not use this system for chatting? It's so much better. And everyone was like, yeah, you're right, it is. It's actually a little bit awkward to use, and it probably takes a bit of learning, but it's like learning to text for the first time or something, I don't know. It just takes a little bit of experience to get to grips with. Oh god, I really shouldn't stand in the corner here, because I'm just getting pummeled. I should also get rid of the healers, throwing down those awful, awful fields that are healing all the enemies that I want to kill. Come on, unstick me. And, oh god, I'm freaking frozen again. These guys, man. These guys. So much freeze. Oh, I tell you what it is. Normally I would wear my Skullver coat. I am not wearing my Skullver coat today. Can I get out? No, get out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Normally I would wear my Skullver coat. I'm still trying to charge up that frickin' mercurial mail, so I don't have my Skullver coat on. Yeah, okay. So I don't have anywhere near as much freeze resistance as I would typically have for these kind of things. Those are the last questions. Was it? Was that all of them? Yes. I think it could work on console. Absolutely, I think it should. I think they should look at doing that. A good way to get new players into the game. Absolutely. What's your views on SteamOS? I don't feel like it's a good use of Valve's resources, but hey, they have more money and sense, and they do what they want. They don't really do anything. They do what they want and nuts to everybody else, really. I think it's a good idea. Well, I like it. I like it as a concept. I like the idea of having a PC-based kind of console platform. It's a neat idea. I don't think it's a good use of resources. I just like Look, I have a few projects in mind for things that could potentially use it later down the line. Stuff for the button mash events more so than anything else, really. It's like, hey, that could be used for an interesting thing. I like the idea of that. But for the general consumer, it's like, you'd be better off just buying a PC, wouldn't you, than one of these Steam boxes or whatever. Steam OS as a concept, like I say, I think there's potential for some cute, interesting ideas to make some PC-built console kind of things that could be kind of neat. But it's obviously been designed for the Steam boxes, and the Steam boxes, I'm still kind of in a position where I'm like, I don't know who they're for or what they're for, really. I can't figure that one out. Right, which way is the way? That must be the way, so this must be loot. Let's head down to the loots. Hey, loot crates. Bing, there we go. Awesome. Do you read graphic novels or comic books? If so, which ones do you read? I really don't. I used to read, like, a couple of mangas back in my teens. I have the full Battle Royale manga, as far as things go, which is kind of a graphic novel in a weird kind of way, I suppose. I suppose it is. Manga is a type of graphic novel, is it not? I don't know if people sort of categorize them differently. I'm not a enthusiast. It has pictures and it tells a story. It is a graphic novel. That is kind of my classification. So yeah, if you've not read that one, if you're in any way, shape or form interested in Battle Royale and weren't aware that there was a Battle Royale manga, read the Battle Royale manga because it's really freaking good. The movie's okay. The book's good. The manga is 15 books long, and because of the format, they just have the scope to explore, like, all of the characters' history and psychology and motivations and what makes them tick and their lives in much greater detail than either of the other two. The movie just bombs through everything, and you don't really get any kind of... You don't get to know or get attached to any of the characters to any great extent beyond, like, the protagonists. And the book has a little bit more scope to do that, but even still, it feels limited. The movie's super limited by the format. The book's less limited by the format, And I know the book's the original, don't get me wrong, I'm aware of that fact. But, I don't know, it still feels a little bit limited compared to the manga. The manga, they just have the time and the space to just go, hey, look, one of these 15 books is just going to be entirely about, like, one of the antagonists or something. It's like, well, because obviously there are many. It's like this character or this small group of 2 or 3 characters, we're just going to dedicate this entire book to talking about their backstory and their history and their lives and things, and how they came to be where they are today, why they're now like a delinquent, why they're at this problem school, and it's much better. It's really super interesting and really cool. It's pretty awesome. I would say go read that if you've not read that. I mean, there are... I have heard that there are plenty of websites out there that host manga and stuff, and I've heard that you're not supposed to use them because it's like equivalents of manga piracy or something, but I don't know. If there are any good systems out there, I'm sure I've seen Battle Royale on like those sites, because I do look on I do on occasion look at manga sites and things. So, I'd say I have seen Battle Royale on them. I do own the books, though, and I recommend reading them one way or another, yeah. If there's any of those sites that are, like, not manga piracy and totally legal, and you should have a look at them like that. Oh god, this is not going to end well. Save me, cat! Save me, cat! Save me! Unfreeze me, for crying out loud! Jesus. Woo! There we go. Yes. And what's your opinion on long-distance relationships? If it works for you, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I've never had one, so I really don't have any strong opinions on it. I've seen plenty of people who've made them work quite comfortably. And yeah, that's about it. I've seen plenty of people who made it work quite comfortably, so I don't know what opinions one would normally have. Or some people are like, oh no, I had one and it didn't work out, so I can't recommend it. But other people, it works. Different things work for different people. If you have a long-distance relationship that works for you, go for it. That's fine. It's not my opinion to judge one way or another, really. So, yeah. Basil, hello. What are you selling me? What are you selling me? You are selling me... Ooh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I can do something with that. That's my shopping for the week. And there we go. So, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave questions and things. I haven't quite got through everything this week, so I'll get to anything I missed next week. And don't forget to leave me more questions and things in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, because that helps me out a bunch. And as well, don't forget to check out my Patreon, which will be linked in the outro in just a hot second. If you wish to support my channel, that is the #1 single best way you can do that, and that will get you extra video content every single week. We're currently playing through Spore at the minute. It's a lot of fun. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I have been Meroka, this has been Spiel, and I will see you next time.